Hello, and welcome back to another episode of SkyrimPlus. Today I'm featuring Aonghus House by Skyking 2020. Let's check out the map. Here we are at Aonghus House. We're halfway between Riverwood and Whiterun, and here we are again at our featured home, Aonghus House. For our world space view, there's Whiterun and Dragon's Reach, and as we come up the path towards Riverwood, we find our featured home. Let's drop down and check it out. When we first head towards the house, we find a wooden bridge helping us pass over the White River. Just as a reminder, Skyking created Skyland textures and Fantasia, so you know you're in for a treat. When I first installed this home, I was looking at the outside thinking, this doesn't look like the pictures, and wondered if Dindalot had covered up some of them. But I found out that you have the choice to renovate the home after you get the key. Speaking of the key, let me show you how to get it. First, you'll need to head towards the front door. There's a note to read under a pair of boots. The note is from Aonghus saying he's passing the house down to you. Apparently, we're the adventurers have used this home for free for generations. He tells you there's a woman inside named Jen who can take care of the property while you're gone or join you in your adventures. And you can make changes to the home using the ledger inside. He said a courier would come by to deliver the keys, and after waiting a while, the courier did arrive with the delivery. Now that we have the keys, let's see what the inside has to offer. And here we are inside of Aonghus' house. When you enter, you have a dining area, a pantry, here's a crackling fire with a cooking pot and a large elk head mounted above. You also have an oven and butter churn for your cooking needs, and several harvestable ingredients. There's your front door, and then to the left you have your ledger where you can make the changes to the home. But we're not ready to see that quite yet. We're going to see the rest of the home first. Underneath the stairs you have a door to the armory, but it's empty until after you renovate it. And then here's a cabinet full of alchemical ingredients and potions. And then over here is your alchemy lab. And then you have a quaint sitting area. It has some bookshelves, you have your butterflies in a jar, there's a gargoyle statue, and here's your arcane enchanter. And then as we turn again, you can see that we have a mannequin, and we have a couple of weapons racks on either side of the bedroom door. And here's your master bedroom. I love the windows above the bed, that looks really nice. And then you have a couple of nightstands, a chest, a double bed. There's a nice plant. You've got a dresser. There's a couple of weapons plaques on either side of the door, a wash basin, and another small dresser. Okay, now we'll head back out, and this time we'll head up the stairs. While we're headed up to the next level, don't forget to smash that like button if you like this content, and subscribe if you haven't already. And now we're upstairs where we have a bed for a follower and 2 beds for children. To move in your adopted kids, cast the Bless This Home spell that comes with the Hearthfire Multiple Adoptions mod. And to have followers recognize this as their home, use the mod My Home Is Your Home. Then they'll come back here when you dismiss them. Now let's go check out that ledger. You can use the ledger to add a garden, balcony, a barnyard, a blacksmith area, a mill, a fire pit, a stone bridge, and an armory. You can add as many or as few of those options as you want, making this home customizable, but each option costs 750 septims. I'm going to add everything. Now that I've selected all of the renovation options, let's go check them out. We'll start with the only indoor option first, the armory. Here's the door underneath the stairs. And now we're in the armory. You have a sitting area with a nice chandelier, a map to plan your next quest, and then just past that is the display for your Dragon Priest masks. I added these and the weapons and armor you'll see throughout the armory. As we walk around down here, you'll see tons of mannequins, weapons racks and plaques, and display cases to show off some of your favorites that you've collected along the way. You also have several of these trophy bases where you have a wide variety of options on what you want to place. I decided on trolls just because I think they look extra creepy down here. If you like the glowing effect on my weapons, that's from the mod Visual Animated Enchantments Reborn, and most of the armor is from the mod author Pullcharm Solus. Next, you have spots to store some of your special items like these dragon claws, the paragons, the black books, the Ogma Infinium, more dragon priest masks, and the Mask of Clavicus Vile. And you have this really nice seating area. Here's an extra chest in case you need some additional storage. And now we'll head to the other side of the room to see what that has to offer. I also have to say, this shows that Skyking has some versatility. Not only can he make excellent textures, he can make a heck of a house mod. We just passed a dummy, here's an archery target range, and he's added the hold shields to make it look a little bit cooler along the way. Good design choice there. And now we'll check out the newly added bedroom. I guess you could use this for either a follower or you could just use it as your own master bedroom. You've got a wash basin down here, a spot for some potions, a dresser, a nice seating area, a double bed, a couple of nightstands, and then over here you have your dresser, and in the corner you actually have a giant's club. That's kind of unique. And then you have a desk in the corner. Now that we've seen the armory, we've seen all of the renovations inside, but we still need to see the changes that were made outside, so I'll take us back out front. One of the renovations was changing the wooden bridge to a stone bridge. This feels safer, like your kids could use it without having to be Indiana Jones. To our right, we have an awesome view of the White River and the waterfall. That just looks amazing. And then when we look to the left, we can see the other side of the White River as it flows towards Whiterun and Dragon's Reach. What a great view. It looks like we got some braziers as well. Okay, let's see what other renovations we've made. It looks like we've added an apiary. If you're an alchemist and a warrior, that could be good to make some stamina potions with. I like this side yard with the trees. I'm using Traverse the Ulvenwald in case you're curious about my tree mod. And here's our fire pit. It comes with a couple of benches and a bar. And here's the fire pit to hang out by and retell your glory stories. You also have these stairs that lead down directly to the water. This would be a great spot to use a Fish Anywhere mod. It also looks like it could play nicely with Rayek's End if you love that player home. That's definitely one of my personal favorites. Okay, there's Jen, and she's the one that's the follower, or she can just take care of your home if you're away. And then when you pass the apiary, here's a gate that leads to your barnyard, another one of your renovations. You've got some lights for night, you gained a chicken, a cow, and a goat. He's also given you a hay bale, a couple of barrels, and an old wagon. And then you have 2 functioning stables if you want to bring a horse. And you have a chicken's nest in the back of that one where you can harvest the eggs. Now we're heading to our garden, which is another one of the renovations. You've got some water for your animals, a wood chopping block and woodcutter's axe for your firewood needs, and 12 fertile soils to plant whatever you'd like. I went ahead and planted some roses from the mod Roses of Remembrance. That mod got an update in 2025 too, which includes some new colors, and they come in short varieties like the ones I use, and they also come in a taller variety as well. Okay, now we're heading to the other side of the home to see the renovations we made on that side. There's the courier from earlier. I guess he thinks this house is pretty cool too, so he's sticking around. And here's our smithing area with your anvil and forge, your workbench, your grindstone, and here's your smelter. And then as we turn to the right, here's your tanning rack and a spot with some ingots and some storage. And then when we head to the left, we find our grain mill. I don't know how much flour I'd actually use to merit the 750 septim expenditure, but that looks super cool from the outside of the home, so I'd probably still get it. Okay, now we have one more renovation to check out for the home, and we're headed that way now. To the left of the front door, we now have some stairs for our balcony, and this is our last add-on to feature. You have a beautiful plant. Here's a great spot to sit out and enjoy a meal on a perfect weather day with your followers. And then check out that view. You just can't beat it. This is definitely worth 750 septims. But now we've seen all of the features of this home, so it's time for final thoughts. Skyking 2020 did a fantastic job making this unique home with unrivaled views. You have all of the essentials like a bed for you and your spouse, 2 beds for kids, and a spare for a follower upstairs, as well as an extra double bed in the renovated Armory. You had a cooking pot, oven, and butter churn for your cooking needs, an alchemy lab, an arcane enchanter, and don't forget about your potential follower Jen. You had a ledger which allowed you to customize the home to your liking, and after upgrading, you gained a full smithing suite, an apiary, a woodchopping block and woodcutter's axe, a grain mill, a stone bridge, a stable and some animals, a garden with 12 fertile soils to plant whatever you want, an armory to store your favorite armor and weapons, and several places to store and display some of the game's collectible items. That adds some intrigue to the home's design. There's also a fire pit to retell your battle stories, and a balcony to stare off into the sunset. Thanks, Sky King, for your contributions to the Skyrim community. This concludes my feature of Aonghus House. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to be notified of when I post, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode.